Guys, gals, and in between pals, welcome back to another episode of Resistance Radio. As always, my name is Dane Snudden, also known as the Super Communist, and I am joined by Emma Embers, the Chaos Queen slash autistic gender bender, who is to the right of me this time.
Starting my right-wing pivot, everyone.
And as always, our AI program, James Harris.
Yeah, they stopped paying for the good stuff, so now I have to bring my laptop with me.
Yeah. And we are joined by friend of the show, friend of the Resistance, fellow organizer, Alan. Welcome.
What's up?
And we are going to be just doing our standard news react show today. But as you guys are probably aware, you have noticed we have a little bit different layout. What's the deal with that?
So it turns out in Green Bay, it can flood sometimes, and much of the city has been flooded. Neighboring cities like Sharpton got completely evacuated because of how bad their flooding was. Luckily here, it wasn't as bad as it could have been, but unfortunately, when your studio is a basement and a place floods, it's the first thing to go. So
Right.
that's a good time for James to talk about what this actually has to do with politics in general.
You threw me under the bus a little. That is not
Yeah.
the question I was expecting you to ask.
I
Emma
forgot
had-
to come up with my question beforehand. That's the problem.
All right, so, well, I mean,
If you stick a knife in my back 9 inches and pull it out 6 inches, there's no progress. You pull it all the way out, that's not progress. The progress is healing the wound that the blow made.
People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing.
But do you know what the most significant addiction crisis in America is today? It is the greed of the billionaire class.
This country was built on gangs. You know, I think this country still is run on gangs. Republicans, Democrats, the police department, the FBI, the CIA, those are gangs. You know what I mean?
To the people who own it, that unless you're free, the machine will be prevented from working at all.
It's called the American dream because you have to be asleep to believe it.
I've collected my brain cell. And thing is, we set a new rainfall record, 14.55 inches. That is the most it's rained in 24 hours since we started collecting this data. We also, I believe we had between 9 and 13 inches over 2 days, which is another record in a lot of northeastern Wisconsin. And that was of 2 days ago, and it's still been raining the whole time.
Yep.
When we finished recording the episode on Monday, I drove home and all of a sudden my phone went off and I got a flash flood warning. Do not proceed further. And then when I went to work the next day, a bunch of roads were washed out.
Yeah.
And people say climate change isn't real.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it's been blatantly obvious, even just with the seasons that we've had. Like, we don't get much snow anymore. This year obviously was an exception.
It's the first.
Or we get extreme amounts.
Right. And I think that's one thing that's funny is a lot of people like still have the global warming mindset
Yeah.
where like they think that only if it's warm that we have climate change, and they don't realize that like it's
affects
just
everything.
extreme weather in
Yeah.
general. So yeah, that's why our layout is a little bit different. Today is we are dealing with the repercussions of climate change, as many of you across the United States and the world are dealing with. But
If you think our recording setup is more terrifying than normal, please leave us a hate comment.
yes,
On the bright side, I might have talked us into getting like bowling carpet in here so we can have some cool black light.
Yeah. It's gonna be sick once we're done.
sweet.
Did we introduce this guy yet?
Yes, we
Yeah,
did.
we did.
Okay.
That's what you meant. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
This-
let's
Sorry,
do
we
that.
forgot to update your script in the prompt, but yes, we've addressed
Yeah.
it.
But yeah, we have obviously, as per usual, you know, there's a lot that has been happening. So we, you know, compiled a list of things that we wanted to kind of react to. If there's anything specific in the news that you want us to cover, once a week we do the news show. So send them our way, leave it in the comments, DM us, whatever, and we will be sure to react to that. And as always, thank you for watching. But let's get this first clip up here.
Like and subscribe.
Please.
All right. So to start off, you can see that we are on James's territory of Reddit.
We're / conservative, and we're here because I wanted to make a point. And this is why you have a really hard time talking to some people, and it's because of a lot of fucking problems with society. So now, if you check this out, this is r / conservative on an average day. What I'm trying to make is you do not need to lie to be dishonest, even a little bit, right? Look at this. This is ICE lodges detainer for illegal migrant charged with strangling wife. 6 House Republicans vote for Haitians temporary protected status. Oh, something about Confederate groups. Voting as a non-citizen. Hold on. I'm getting to a serious point. And you go down a little bit further. Felon immigrant murderer kills sweet marathon runner. Look at this. They're covering every immigrant-related crime in breathtaking detail. Now, I will give them the benefit of the doubt, mostly because I'm way too lazy to dig this up. But I'm going to assume every single one of these happened exactly like they said. But here's the thing. We as a country are 15% immigrants.
Like
Okay.
immigrants with like green card status or
Just immigrants in general.
naturalized- Okay.
In general. 15.3. That is 53.3 million. That is quite a lot of immigrants. And in the United States, every single day, approximately 60 people are murdered and 120 people die in car accidents. Right? Which is horrible, but that's just what happens. 53 million, it's a statistic certainty that immigrants are going to get involved in these things happening.
Yeah.
But there's a quote commonly misattributed to Stalin, but it was actually, I forget who, but it was somebody who's writing a propaganda piece against Stalin. It's
Probably Trotsky.
maybe. No, it was a CIA something.
Yeah,
Okay.
that
Could be honestly anybody.
It was a million, or a single death is a tragedy, 1,000 deaths are a statistic, or is it 1,000,000 deaths are a statistic? You know, you've heard it before,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
What they're doing here is they're not mentioning the statistic, but they're individualizing and creating tragedies.
Yeah.
And another thing that tells you is, for whatever reason, somebody is pushing this really, really hard. This is not like grassroots, you just happen to be racist. This, you know
I'm
what I
pretty
mean?
sure it's Underfear or Stephen Miller, but
It's top-down racism. It is somebody like deliberately trying to stoke fear.
It's probably Christine Elm's new job.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing, like, this is exactly what our conservative has been like for months. Like every single day, it's immigrants, trans mass shooter, immigrants, right?
we got to be featured somewhere.
Represent.
Trans people, not mass shooters.
What? Weird thing is, after yesterday, all of a sudden that completely stopped. Go up and up and up and up, and there are no fucking posts about immigrants.
Interesting.
I don't have a fucking clue why that might be. Anti-Semitism, pro-life crap,
Okay, anti-Semitic
Left-wing
stuff
stuff.
coming from them is really funny.
oh,
Yeah.
Pentagon, Cuba, Pelosi behind something. See, today is tax day, a fraud mention. That's the first one. That's the first one we found in a solid fucking minute of just scrolling up. So whoever the powers that be that are in charge of the conservative narrative have temporarily decided that we need to be worried about things besides immigrants at the moment.
They need PTO too. That's like rights for everybody, right?
No,
I just wanted to know what you
What is
thought.
the benefits package like? Because you look like a Reddit moderator, so
no, I mean, I think it is definitely true that they do change the goalposts a lot. Like, remember when it was Haitian immigrants, and then before that it was Venezuelan immigrants,
Yep.
and then You know, then it
Mexican
was
immigrants have always been featured.
right. You know, and
But
then
they also just
and then they always circle back to using Southeast Asian people as the token good ones, right?
Yep.
And so
they're one of
it's the same tired old playbook, but they just shift it depending on what their mood is. It's like they have a mood ring, that it's
Yeah.
like one day be scared about fraud, the next day be scared about brown people, and it's
Yeah.
like
Well, that's how it was with the Somalis too, because they had the
Yeah,
Somalis.
right,
The Somalis were their target for a solid 3 months,
right.
and then they were like, "All right, moving on."
I bet you could probably correlate like watching Fox News and what they have on there as their
Oh,
yeah,
current
yeah.
event and what shows up on conservative Reddit.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, for sure.
I would bet. And then we have obviously more stuff happening. All right, so we have another great clip here to take a look at. This one with the star of the media, the Golden Girl herself.
I hate you for that. I hate you for that.
I knew that was gonna get at you.
What reference am I not understanding?
Golden Girls, I was a big fan.
It's like it's okay. You're one of my best friends. You don't have to know the details of what made me who I am as a person. Just the small thing. It's a very small detail.
She's only worn the shirt like 3 times. Now we're going to be talking about a Golden Girl in Caroline.
No.
Love it.
That is not. Stop trying to make that happen. That is not going to happen.
And, so just for a little context, I have no idea what she's going to say here, but there has been mysteriously 10 scientists that have disappeared. And we're going to learn a little bit more about that here.
Peter.
Thank you. I have one for you and then one for Secretary Besson.
Sure.
For you, Caroline, there are now 10 American scientists who have either gone missing or died since mid-2024. They all reportedly had access to classified nuclear or aerospace material. Is anybody investigating this to see if these things are connected?
I've seen the report, Peter. I haven't spoken to our relevant agencies about it. I will certainly do that and we'll get you an answer. If true, of course, that's definitely something I think this government and administration would deem worth looking into. So let me do that for you.
Thank you. And Secretary Besson, it doesn't sound like we're going to have...
I love how she says that she's seen the report, because we all know what other report she fucking saw that she acted very quickly on.
Which one was that, Darren?
The Epstein files.
By the way, this isn't related to the specific issue, but it should be pointed out that it seems to have been proven correct that the whole Trump's weird response to him as Jesus thing being like, no, I thought I was a doctor in it. It seems to have been because Caroline Leavitt and them told him to say that it was a doctored image, and he was just like, I thought I was a doctor. I can't do the Trump voice like Dane does, but
where do we think what do we think happened to these scientists? I mean, they just up and left. They had secure access.
When did it start?
2024.
You think that they're in hiding?
I mean,
what agencies did they work for?
Aerospace and nuclear.
We'll have to wait until they publish the report.
They're definitely not looking into it. They've been dropping all kinds of I just heard they dropped all of the antitrust cases that they had by the current DOJ once he got in office. They've been working on it for years.
Awesome.
Yeah, so there's just casually 10 people with classified aerospace and nuclear information that we have no idea where they are, and
nobody seems worried about that.
Yeah, no,
just whatever.
We don't want Iran to get nuclear weapons, but we also have 10 people missing that had nuclear information.
I mean, if any, I'd put money on Iran being behind it.
But in what context? Because if they're American scientists, are they gonna? This is how this is gonna come out. They're gonna say they were selling secrets, right?
Probably.
But the truth will be something completely different. But are you saying that Iran? But your theory is that they killed them, or that they were connected with selling government secrets to them.
It could be any of several things. I just think ultimately Iran is responsible. They could be killed. They could be kidnapped. They could have been selling secrets and then get extracted. It could be any number of things. And the reason I think that is because Iran has hinted at having the capability to mess with the U.S. There have been mystery drone flights that blocked off access to U.S. air bases in the middle of the fucking bombing. And the U.S. and Iran have been in a spook off for decades at this point. You got
Yeah.
things like Stuxnet, which is a computer worm that's spread all across the globe, specifically designed to check if it was in Iran, and attached to a centrifuge. Like,
Yep.
if anybody's behind spooky shit, it's them.
I don't know. You're sounding an awful lot like the State Department here, James. What if they just went camping, you know?
I think the answer is a lot simpler, and it is Operation Paperclip. Is anybody familiar with Operation
Where
Paperclip?
we brought the Nazis in to help make the V2 bombs.
Yes, yes,
they
we got the
actively
Nazis in
went-
to help us get the nuclear weapons before they did, basically.
Are they
And it
Israel?
worked. Huh?
No, Operation Paperclip was post World War II. So that was
Wait, did I get my names wrong? Well, that's embarrassing.
pre World War II. A lot of smart motherfuckers saw the writing on the wall, and a decent amount of them ended up here. There was no Operation Paperclip before World War II.
Motherfucker.
No, it makes sense though. You either think that they see the writing on the wall and they're fleeing, or that somebody is trying to snatch our best and brightest.
I think it's that one. I don't think it's nefarious. I just think that they're like, hey, help us out with this, and then, we'll protect you.
On the flip side, they could also have just jumped ship because they know that like in the US, if you're a felon, you can't own any firearms.
Yeah.
And we have a felon who has the nuke codes. So they might have said, like, I don't want to be
involved
with that in any way.
Yeah.
Honestly,
that
I
makes
hope that it was a like an Andor situation where, if you haven't seen Andor, they kidnap a scientist who ends up programming a flaw in the Death Star, and that's what allows them to blow up the Death Star. That would be
Yeah.
sick if they like somehow. This is me putting on my Blue Anon hat. This is my Blue Anon hat today. That would be sick if they somehow like, fucked with the entire U.S. nuclear program.
Yeah.
And like just rendered it like
Yeah.
Yeah, like he goes to push the button one day and it just nothing.
That'd be funny.
Or they all
They're all aimed at
well,
the White
look,
House.
I mean,
on his location.
there's precedent for that anyway, because when Trump came in the second time, all the like fascist experts fled the country. So like,
True.
Have $3 a gallon gas by summertime, which we had initially been told by the energy secretary. He now says that it would be very aggressive if we're going to get to the $3 a gallon gas by the summer. So when are we really going to get $3 a gallon gas?
Well, I think that's going to be the up to how the negotiations go. President Trump said this morning that he thinks we're nearing the end. The U.S.
Motherfucker has been saying that since before we got in the war.
what have I been saying? There's that clip of Netanyahu where he's like, they're weeks away for the last 30 fucking years. That's what they do. They just keep saying, oh yeah, we're done. Like mission accomplished behind Bush with Iraq. Well before it was ever actually, decades even, before it was actually done. Like,
Producer Pete has something.
Yeah, we really need to get a new camera. So make sure to send your donations in if you want
Yes.
want our operations to get a little bit better. But I just saw, and this fits in perfectly, a More Perfect Union article, YouTube. You probably seen it myself or yourself, and maybe other people do because it's very good. It's the speed that the last vessels left the strait are now arriving here because they travel at about the speed of a bicycle. So now they're starting to roll into our ports, the ones that like so
Before the strait got
shut
So the
down.
last ships are getting here now.
Only now. So we haven't even seen an oil shortage yet.
Yep.
We are about to in the next coming months when that oil finally gets refined and sent out and is now we're drying up from that source. Yeah.
But hey, we got a couple weeks left of the war, guys.
But they killed the 87-year-old Ayatollah that definitely didn't already have a replacement prepared.
Also to note, I think it's around roughly 20% comes from the strait for our oil.
Yeah, crude, yeah.
Crude, yeah. So, I mean, the private oil companies are going to use this as a big red flag, just like they did back in my time when I was your age, of Katrina hitting. Great Katrina when I lived in Texas.
Not Katrina DeVille.
Yeah, not Katrina DeVille, Katrina the hurricane, the storm. Anyway, Texas had sub $1 prices of gas a gallon.
That was when diesel went. It passed up gas and it's never came back. Since then.
So, and since then, like oil barrel prices have been cheaper pre-Katrina, but have never gone down since then. So this is all going to be just used as another freaking excuse of like the new norm is $3 a gallon. I mean, it should be right now. It should be more like $2.50 a gallon. That should be more the norm. That's what the talking point should be. But no, the talking points we're going to be sub $3 a gallon. No, let's make the talking point sub $2.50 a gallon.
Yeah.
But art of the deal, Mr. Trump is gonna, pull something out when he's dealing with the rogue state of Israel. So
his floppy mushroom beans,
Nah.
and he waves it at them, and then
Technically.
they go, okay.
I think we should pitch a executive order to him to just subsidize, like set the price of gas at $2.50 and then just subsidize the rest of it.
Yeah, do whatever.
A lot of the price is just speculation, anyways. It's not like
Actually, goes down. Let's talk like $2 a gallon.
the shareholders, though, Alan. The
shareholders. Second $1 billion yacht. I mean,
the wine's gonna look limp.
The pedant in me needs to say it isn't 20% of our oil, it's 20% of global oil, but a shortage somewhere has ripple effects elsewhere, right?
20% though is
20%.
still, and still way as a percentage.
That's
the price did not go up by 20%. It went up by.
There's always something too that, from a climate policy standpoint, you always hear a lot of times, especially on right-wing sources, them saying, well, we produce so much oil. The oil that we produce in the US, we cannot use.
Yeah.
No,
it is. We need to refine it and we send it to other countries to be refined. So unless we're just going to build a bunch of refineries.
It's actually, U.S. refineries, I believe, are set up for heavy sour crude. Because that's where we imported it, or that's what we imported when we imported more. We are technically a net energy exporter, but fracking produces light sweet crude, and they did the math, and they figured that by the time they got light sweet crude refineries built, fracking would be depleted, so they didn't bother.
That makes sense.
I love capitalism so much.
It's great.
All right, so on to the next clip here. Very, very beautiful video of some ICE agents in Oregon. And we can see how the Oregon protesters got a little creative with their tactics here.
Is like one of my favorite cities I've been to.
Ben, I'd love to go.
This summer we need to do it.
A couple of us here have gone to an ICE facility. Check out our YouTube video on that. And we didn't have anything like that, but
is nobody gonna say it?
They're all low quality dildos.
What a bunch of dicks.
Also some dildos.
You know for a fact that there was some ICE agents that brought some home.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, one of them was kicking.
They can't please their wives, so I
feel bad for their wives. Those are like the cheapest dildos. You should not put things inside your body. They know, like they bought those bulk on Temu, for sure.
Also, watching it bounce every time they kicked it was just like it just brings joy and wins it to my heart.
I'm not gonna lie, if someone ever throws a dildo at me, I'm framing that shit and putting it up on the wall.
I know.
Like, what possessed you to hate me so much that you went spend like
a lot of money?
I thought it was funny when we were gonna go down. There was a couple people that were planning on throwing shrimp to represent the shrimp dicks of the ICE agents, but throwing dildos is so much better.
It really is.
And, of course, they would frame that as like assaulting an officer. Like, I'm being attacked by dicks.
Oh no, floppy penis is my biggest fear.
One can only dream, right, Emma?
I know.
Yeah,
I would love to be slammed.
I hate it when they're floppy.
That's true. But I mean, if you put the work into it, they won't be floppy for long. With
I-
their armor, it probably literally bounced off the fucking helmet.
Yeah.
I just love that too because it attacks, like, number one, they look goofy as fuck when they're doing it.
Yep.
Number two, it totally attacks insecurity, like with them for sure. And it's tactical whimsy at its finest, and it's
Which,
so
as
funny.
the Chaos Goblin, I fully endorse. Also, they should write on the side of each of them, like, is this one bigger than yours?
I think it's a really good tactic because people always underestimate the effect of messaging.
Yeah.
And the fascism in general, and the Trump administration in particular, they have a really, really heavy reliance on perception.
Yep.
Like they need to be seen as the tough, scary, menacing. They can fuck you up.
Yeah.
And the moment that cracks, like the moment Trump looks weak, it is over for him.
Which is unfortunate for him because he looks weak all the time.
Yeah, and he's done his level best to surround himself with completely incompetent yes people, but there are a couple absolute savages just waiting in the wing, and you know exactly who
Stephen
they
Miller.
are. Stephen Miller. JD Vance thinks he is.
Yeah, but he just doesn't have the charisma. Like the only thing that would help him, I think, is if Trump, Grim Reaper, wherever you are, if Trump were to die before 2028 and then JD Vance takes over, I think he would have an easier time locking up everybody's support to be like the next guy. But I just don't think he has the charisma to be the Democrat.
No, he does
In
not
a fair election.
He does not have to be. He does not have the charisma, but JD Vance can do an awful lot of shit in fucking 2 years, and what he's gonna do, nobody really knows because it depends on whether he's planning on screwing over Donald Trump or screwing over Peter Thiel.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to screw over Donald Trump.
Going back, I think
He's got investments in.
yeah.
Peter Thiel built him like an AI robot, James.
Yeah. Reasons like this dildo clip are reasons why I think the whole like frog suit movement is like super awesome, because it like tackles what you had said, James, about like optically, like you have a little kid who like stumbles across that. They're like, Mom, why are they attacking this frog? You know, like we got to keep doing that shit because it makes him look goofy and it's embarrassing.
Or at our No Kings 3 protest, we had a little kid pulling like a big old speaker that was playing Fuck the Police right as he was passing the bicycle cops. And they already look ridiculous because they're bicycle cops.
Right.
But like now you have a literal child pulling a speaker playing Fuck the Police past you.
Yeah.
Makes you look ridiculous.
Which I love that, because the last time we had a protest, they came up to me and I was playing the same song. And they said, but there's little kids here. They might hear it. And I said, that's fine. The parents can make that decision. And if the parents want me to turn it off, I'll turn it off. And now the parents are having the kids play it.
Leftists radicalizing the children.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was a nice little palate cleanser for what's to come, because I am seeing Clandis Owens and Alex Jones on the screen right now.
Telling y'all for months that conservatives and the right in general is slowly souring on him. You have to know what your opposition is thinking.
Let's take a look at what these intelligent souls have to say.
Oh boy.
Right-wing influencers are turning on Trump, even some who campaigned with him, because they don't like his latest actions or his words.
I don't know about you, but I am sick of this shit. I'm sick of it. Can't he just behave like a normal human?
You see, Trump...
Okay.
Bro, her homeschool ass, the way she said shit, like she enunciated it. She was like, I'm sick of this shit. Like... Okay, Megyn Kelly, you got your one swear word in for the show. Good job.
So this is the point where she's finally sick of this shit. Like she was literally saying, I mean, if they're 15, they're not a kid, so we'll do whatever you want. These aren't kids we're talking about that they were raping. They're 15. Like, fuck out of here, Megan.
Like I said, what happens on 4chan becomes front page news. There's this whole group of 4chaners that were like, no, we're not pedophiles because we're attracted to people over the age of 13. And they had like a whole different word for it and everything. And
Pedophile, yeah. That's why I left the libertarian movement, because I was like, this is just pedophilia with extra steps.
Now, what is different between that and fucking wood?
Yeah, exactly.
Off topic, but...
has a MAGA problem, and the Iran war made it worse, including this Easter Sunday social media post demanding Iran open the effing Strait of Hormuz.
To send out a tweet with the F word on Easter morning promising the murder of civilians and then saying praise be to Allah without explaining any of it, you are mocking me and every other Christian because we're Christians. We can't support that.
And when
the worst person you know just made a great point.
Yeah, but like putting the emphasis on saying the F word on this holy Easter morning and then talking about the like slaying of innocent civilians.
The last is 1.0 Trump was tear gassing people on his way to church because he didn't want people. Yeah.
And the way that he frames it, he attacked me. How could you do this to me?
Yeah, no, the fake Christian grifting on the right is so absurd.
Tucker's been like struggling to stay relevant though, so
Absolutely.
They're still talking about him running for president in 2028, though. So
good luck.
Wrote a whole civilization will die tonight. It prompted calls for the 25th Amendment to be invoked.
How do we 25th Amendment his ass?
Tackle Trump and pretend, let him pretend he's president and publicly report that he's going through a health issue and Vance take over. It literally needs to be something like that. It's that bad.
Removal is unlikely.
They're already doing that. It's just Vance isn't actually president, but they're already basically just saying like, we'll do all the work. You just talk about your ballroom and your other little art projects.
Like social media people have talked about this very thing. So they are watching us because this is a word for word lift from a Twitch streamer.
Yeah.
Isn't that what Stephen Miller is just already doing?
Yeah, he's the shadow president.
Yeah,
or the prime minister, as they keep calling him.
Trump's not actually doing anything.
No, that's why every time they talk to him about something, he always has to, like, eventually drifts into, but the ballroom, though, because that's all he's focused on.
But this could be a problem for Trump and Republicans ahead of the midterm elections this fall. Trump was reelected because he built a coalition of right-wing figures, conspiracy theorists, and agitators. Some in that movement are already angry about the lack of transparency around the Epstein files and the high cost of living. A war, when Trump promised no new wars, adds to that frustration. If they're disenfranchised, they may not show up to vote, which could make it harder for Republicans to retain control of Congress.
Fucking please. Please, for the love of God, or whatever God, I don't know, whoever.
What did Trump, like, you could tell, and we've said it before, that like they don't think anything through.
No.
But like him making his base like QAnon conspiracy crazies and then pulling shit like that,
Yeah.
like
You tried to do the standard neocon shit with the last people in the world that go along with like neocon shit.
what a
Like,
beautiful man up there.
Oh God. Okay. Well, I guess I'll intro this one.
Oh, yeah.
Now that Chuck Norris is dead, we're on to my new least favorite Chuck Schumer, who is the current Democratic minority leader in the Senate, and another one of those like absolute pains in my ass. Excuse me.
More dangerous than it was before. So it's worse. Trump's Iran war has strengthened the Iranian regime and made the United States' position worse. Gas prices. At home here, American families have paid the price for this war. Gas prices have skyrocketed in just a matter of days. They're not going to change until August. And in general, the world oil markets will be unsettled for years from now. Several years from now, Americans in the world will still be paying the price.
I love how Chuck Schumer will say that as if Israel's not the one that's like,
Well, that's because he said that his number one job in the Senate is to make sure that that America never stops being Israel's ally. Like,
Yeah.
he is cold-hearted. Like, this is the kind of stuff that makes it hard to talk about, because if you talk about dual loyalty, people automatically think that you're trying to make the anti-Semitic slur. And I'm like, no, in this case, this is a U.S. senator actively putting the interests of a foreign nation above our own. And that's fucking weird and shouldn't happen.
Like, he really shouldn't even be up there. Like, the Trump's Iran war. Like, no, this is Israel's Iran war that we jumped onto.
Yeah. I mean,
I
they
love
can
how
say
they
Trump
brought up
slash
Ford with
Israel. Like, yeah, no. And also, like, the charisma master here. Like, the way that he was, like, completely dead toned and then all of a sudden goes, years.
years,
And then back to
years, I
dead.
tell you.
And then back to dead tone. Like, this is the leader of the highest ranked Democrat in the country, everybody.
It is old. It's hard to get that much gumption out, like, more than one time.
Yeah, he gets more excited talking about the Baileys, the fake voter family that he invented.
He needs to go. And, you know, on last episode when we had Sean Briscoe on, he was talking about how, you know, AOC could dethrone him. And I I have my qualms with AOC, don't get me wrong, but
he is still
exponentially better than this old decrepit hag that we have.
Higher price for gas prices than before the war started. Iran's nuclear ambition, worse. The bottom line is that Iran still has its nuclear stockpile, its nuclear ambitions. Iran still has its nuclear stockpile. Its nuclear ambitions are still unchecked, if not
It's the
accelerated.
fan.
And finally, American credibility. The nations of the world are furious at Trump. The Europeans, the Asians, even the Middle Eastern allies. They say, what the hell is he doing?
Clearly.
I don't think he gives a flying fuck about anything.
No.
He comes off like a dude who was told he has to give a speech.
Also, the way that he said the stockpile is a nuclear ambition of Iran like 3 times. I was
Not
like,
the talking point.
like
He had to have that talking point in his
If
essay.
I was Iran, I would be fighting Artisbuck to get nukes, because once you have nukes,
oh yeah,
then war becomes a little bit more.
we've talked about it before. We've talked about it before. That's exactly what happened with Libya. Was they convinced Gaddafi to give up his nukes, and under the impression that we would leave him the fuck alone. And the second he gave up those nukes,
It's the Hassanabi nuke doctrine.
Yeah.
If you don't have nukes, get nukes.
Mhm.
If you have nukes, keep nukes. If you're accused of nukes and don't have nukes, get them.
Like, there's a reason that we're not North Korea right now trying to liberate their people.
This motherfucker he got all dressed up. He brought a fucking graphic and everything to announce a press conference to fucking stand there and say nothing.
Yep.
He wasn't prepared.
He couldn't even read it off.
He
there
was
a-
prepared.
There was
He
a
brought
couple
the
steps
board.
that he said worse, worse, and then he missed the last.
He was prepared as much as like my 7-year-old had, with a presentation that I made for her. That's how prepared she was.
highest ranked Democrat in the country right now. Do we all feel great about the Democratic Party and the direction it's going?
No.
Good.
No.
Okay.
And the United States' diplomatic position and credibility in the world is dramatically worse because of this war. So just in summary, this war has made us worse off today than before it started.
No fucking shit.
Really?
Give us nothing.
No way, we're worse off. Holy
Also, my board says worse for all of these categories you can clearly read. So obviously the point that I'm making here is this is all worse.
When have we ever gone to war and been like, we're doing better now?
Yeah.
But also,
But even then, we
Well,
weren't doing that much better.
I thought of the other day that I think is kind of funny. Isn't it funny how we always categorize wars by the place that we're invading?
I think there's only like 5 countries that we haven't ended.
And our next clip has to do with something we did briefly mention in our last episode, which if you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's awesome. It has Sean Briscoe in it. He's great. And we were talking about the California governor's race.
Yep.
And there was a Dem candidate who is facing some serious allegations. Think we're going to learn a little bit more about that here.
and just for reference, the allegations are bad enough that he has now suspended his campaign for governor and is resigning from Congress.
CNN has new exclusive reporting about Congressman Eric Swalwell. The Democrat is running for California governor, as you know. He's been facing rumors on social media about sexual misconduct allegation that he has denied. CNN's Pamela Brown and her team have spoken with 4 accusers, including a former staffer who went on camera to share her story. A warning, you're about to hear some disturbing and graphic details. Here's Pamela Brown's report.
I kept figuring out ways to blame myself. I shouldn't have reached out to him at all. I should have left. I should have done this. Well, Eric shouldn't have raped me.
This Capitol Hill staffer is coming forward for the first time on camera to talk about her experience with Congressman Eric Swalwell. He is now a leading Democratic candidate for governor of California.
Let's get together, make the biggest wave this state has ever seen.
Swalwell was in his late 30s and married when she joined his office as an intern and became a junior staffer. She's speaking in shadow as she fears professional consequences.
It was in 2019. I was, again, driving him to an event. This was my job.
And you were 21 years old.
And I was 21 years old. We see some sort of parking lot, and he says to pull over. He pulls out his penis and instructs me to give him oral sex. And I started to. Again, I felt incredibly uncomfortable. And I stopped, and I said to him, this feels really uncomfortable and anyone could see us right now. And he said to me, you're right. It's probably not good for a congressman to be caught with his pants down.
Oh my God.
Fuck.
It gets worse, but
That, dude, they're all fucking like freaks. Every politician.
well,
is
there's
like,
also a Republican member of the House that's resigning as well. He's retiring, excuse me, because he had consensual relations with a staffer, but it's still that power imbalance that, in whether it's consensual or not, you can argue that it is completely inappropriate. And so like it's basically just Congress is full of predators.
Yeah, you know why he's resigning? He's resigning because after her husband found out, she killed herself by lighting herself on fire.
Yes.
What the fuck?
That was the Republican. I forgot his name. Tony.
I'll find
Rodriguez.
Yeah, Rodriguez.
it's
yeah.
just, man, even the libs, the libs, you know.
Well, that's why whenever the Republicans come back to us on the Epstein files with, Reid Hoffman was in them, and he's one of the biggest bunks of the Democratic Party. And I was like, yeah, set him on fire too. Like, I don't care who they are. I don't care if they're Republican, Democrat.
Right.
If they're a predator, especially on children, fucking, I don't give a fuck.
First of all, you say even the libs. Motherfucker, you don't even like the libs.
I know, I was being sarcastic.
But any ideology, any religion, any political viewpoint, any fucking anything has a few people in it that are complete shitbags. No matter what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I've known leftist organizers that have gotten assaulted by other organizers, you know, like I know one that is experiencing that right now, like not actively getting assaulted, but like the ramifications from that happening. So yeah, I mean, it can always happen, which is like really, I mean, be scary to be a woman for sure.
On the bright side, I could say this now that I've been unmuzzled. April has been a very bad month for creeps running for office. Because
You didn't say that before.
well, because of who specifically made that reference about.
Oh,
Yeah. So
yeah, locally too, right? Creeps running
Yep.
for office.
Yep. April's been a bad, whether you're running locally or nationally, April's been a bad month for creeps running for office.
Yeah, it's Brown County in Green Bay, if you're curious. Go look it up once.
Yeah.
It's 9. Sorry. Yeah, so we can.
Okay, no, but that was a really good point, but that actually wasn't the point I was going to make. The point I was going to make is that anytime you see somebody trying to paint a group of individuals by the actions of an individual, you know that shit's propaganda.
Yeah.
I would argue that more as a percentage, our politicians are some of the fucking worst people.
Yeah,
Even
on the planet.
Both sides. They're
Yeah, because like I don't think Nancy Pelosi's involved in any of the kid touching or staffer abusing or anything like that, but she is an absolute creep on like financial services and shit like that. So.
Well, and that's why, like, the number of politicians that I like, I could probably count on one hand.
Yeah, same.
And a lot of them have been on this show. Like, though, you know, it's the actual ones that are typically rooted in the working class that are the good ones, because they don't have this privilege growing up their entire life where they can just think they can do anything and get away with it, you know? And it's
for someone to be both a good person and a good leader is, you know, 1,000,000,000 to 1 odds, because, you know, some of the best leaders in history have been pieces of shit when you think about it.
We can go down a laundry list of like leftist leaders that we are disappointed in.
So Mao was a weirdo.
Okay, you looked right at me when you said that, so that felt personal. Actually, his landlord policy went super hard.
No, I didn't. I'll buy that. I'm just saying he was a creep.
Okay, that's fair. He's a creep with a great landlord policy.
Sure. But
was it like a certain
to burn them or like throw them in a dumpster?
I mean, yeah.
I mean, they love making jokes about, like, the fascists love making jokes about helicoptering communists, so we could also just. Am I allowed to say that?
No. That's direct act.
Okay, fair enough.
That's direct violence towards people.
But yeah, so this was all the clips that we had today. There was some interesting ones, that's for sure.
Stuff's happening.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously we don't have a long enough show to cover everything. If you would like to see us cover more news, be sure to let us know. and make sure to support the channel so that we can, take more time out of our days.
Patreon's got coming in the works.
Yes.
And merch.
Patreon and merch in the works. Thank you guys for all of the support as always. And, as I always like to say, get active, get wise, and get organized.
Stay trashy, goblins, and don't be an unfrosted Pop-Tart unless you're Rick Crescent and you're a cool one.
Motherfucker, if we're getting merch, one of it had better be a Bigfoot expert hat.
It will.
Hey, off stream. Alan, do you have anything you want to leave the audience with?
Make sure your sump pump's working.
Wise work.
Climate change is a motherfucker. So
Sump pump don't even help.
They only have the really good ones at all the stores.